My entitled sister is claiming that she understands me grieving the loss of my husband because she herself lost her dog, and now she thinks she understands me fully when it comes to how I'm handling the loss of my husband. But after telling her off and saying no, these are not comparable, she freaks out and is now refusing to talk to me. And I'm now not sure if I'm the jerk for this situation, and I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. To make a long story short, I lost my husband only a month ago. It's hard. I'm still grieving, and I miss him every single day. I have to take medication for depression and anxiety to help me get through the day. Last week, my sister's dog was put down due to some health issues, and she was very upset, which is understandable. She called me as soon as it happened and said I was the only sibling who would understand her pain. I didn't mind, honestly. I just wanted to comfort her since her dog meant the world to her. She held a wake for him, and our whole family attended. It really was a nice service. But now she is actually comparing our losses, telling me she knows exactly what I'm going through, that she can relate to the pain of losing someone so close to you. She calls me asking if we should visit graves together. It was fine the first time, but it's constant now. She goes 3 times a day. It's already difficult to go once a week for me, and she knows this. I feel like she's not even considering my own grieving process. Anyways, I told her that grieving her dog is not the same as me grieving my husband. Now she's upset and is refusing to talk to me. I get it. It was uncalled for, really. But my loss is new to me too. And I guess I just got frustrated with how different we're dealing with our losses. I don't know. I feel like she should be able to understand where I'm coming from as well. A dog is not the same as a husband. A dog can't love you back like a husband can. A dog can't read to your children like a husband can. A dog cannot make soup when you're ill like a husband can. It's really hard for me right now to discern when I'm being condescending or not. I don't know if it's a side effect of my medication or if the empathetic part of my brain has just shut down, but I am really getting tired of her comparing our pain when she lost a dog and I lost my world. At the very least, she still has her husband to lean on. I have 2 young children at home, and I'm processing a loss unimaginable to most kids their age. And she's trying to whisk me away to graveyards to visit her dog. So honestly, am I the jerk for telling my sister off? What should I do? You are not the jerk. Your sister is crazy. How can she actually compare the two? Like, this is not even in the same wheelhouse of things that you could grieve about. One is a living, breathing person that is no longer with us, and the other is a dog, a literal animal. Like, those are not even comparable. And the original poster has it right. It's already hard enough to grieve the loss of her husband, but now she has her stupid sister coming in and being like, I understand your pain. Like, no you don't, idiot. You still have your husband. The original poster lost their husband. They don't have them anymore. And the original poster's sister can always get another dog, and that would probably fill whatever hole in her heart she's experiencing. And also, this is really selfish of the sister to step in and try and be like, oh, I understand your grief because my dog died. We're on the same level of grief understanding. Like, no, that's not how this works in the slightest. You are seriously crazy if you think that, and there's no way that kind of attitude or behavior should be tolerated. So if your sister doesn't want to talk to you anymore over this situation, just remind her that your situations are not comparable. And the fact that she would try to say that they are is honestly mind-blowing and unbelievably inappropriate. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Am I the jerk for being excited to tell my ex-girlfriend, who cheated on me by the way, that she won't be getting a dream job at my company? Here's what happened. So my ex-girlfriend and I split up about 18 months ago after being together for 5 years. My ex started university later than everyone else and graduated last year. I found out she was cheating on me when my friend had spotted the 2 of them kissing, as well as flirting and getting handsy in the bar. I confronted her about her cheating, and she tried to spin the whole thing around on me. The breakup was messy and it stung a lot. I currently work as a recruiter for a fairly decent-sized IT company in the city. My ex studied project management at university and has applied for an entry-level project management assistant role at the company I work for. Despite what happened, I was still fair to her in the first stage interview process. I didn't tamper with any of her answers, and she impressed the hiring staff. The interview process for the job was a 3-stage process, first stage with me and the other 2 with hiring managers and other people she'll be working with. I overheard through a mutual friend that she seemed to be really excited about this job. Today, I received the news from the hiring managers that they'll be going with another candidate for the role, and that it's my duty tomorrow morning to contact her and tell her that she was unsuccessful in getting a job that she's dreamt about. So it honestly begs the question, am I the jerk for being excited to tell my ex-girlfriend who cheated on me that she won't be getting her dream job tomorrow. First off, I want to say that yeah, I don't think there's a problem with feeling excited about that, but there is no way I would allow myself to be that person who tells her if I was in your shoes. Think about it for a second. You had a really messy breakup with this woman. You caught her in the act of cheating on you, you confronted her about it, and it was really not a good time when you had to break up with her. And while I totally understand that you want to try and get some kind of revenge on her, I also think it would not be in your best interest to be the one to do it. Like, your ex-girlfriend clearly sounds unhinged, and you can bet she would try to claim some kind of discrimination against you if you just so happen to be the one to tell her that she didn't get the job. She might try to claim, oh, my ex-boyfriend works there and he's the reason I didn't get the job, or some other garbage like that. Like, based on what you've described, I don't think it would be beyond her to try and do that. I mean, when you caught her cheating and when you confronted her about the entire thing, she tried to spin it around and blame it on you. You really think she wouldn't try to do that again on you in this situation? And to top it all off, this is a job that she really wants to be a part of. She's expressed interest in it, she went through the entire interview process, and she has said, yes, I'm very excited about working here. So in my opinion, you being the one to tell her would be a horrible idea. It could cost you a lot of trouble, and honestly, it might even cost you your job. My dad refuses to get a job despite all the attempts I've made to try and help him get a job, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. My father has been a fairly successful man in the past, and due to circumstances such as divorce and other financially related issues from 15 years ago, he has had to find other employment. I am conscious of this fact and always trying to be empathetic as possible when talking to him about this. Recently, things have gotten much worse, with him only being able to find contacts that last a few months and then is unemployed for the rest of the year. Despite this, I've been trying to help him and suggest any kind of avenues of restoring his business, his credit, working out payment plans for debt, and all this other stuff. He always says they're good ideas but never follows through. 2 weeks ago, we got into a discussion about me taking on his regular house duties like cooking and taking over more cleaning duties just so he can apply for more jobs, and he was doing great for the first 2 or 3 days, but after that he slowed down and is now barely applying for jobs from what I can see, and spending all his time either outside or on social media scrolling. As well as this, he is more concerned with the state of the lawn than he is with finding employment. Things financially are not in the best spot, and more than likely he will be struggling to pay bills and afford basic things in a month or so. In light of this, I've been checking on him every few days, and most recently asked why he is not sitting down at his computer or sending out resumes left and right. He tells me that he is outside chatting with people, and then when he shows me his LinkedIn, his last message is from a week before. I feel as though he could easily find something within the next few weeks if he just applied himself 100% and spent at least a few hours a day customizing resumes and connecting with people. In our last conversation, he said it is emotionally draining for him when I talk to him about these things, and says that I am being a detriment more than I am being of help. My thought process is that I am trying to get him to realize that the way he is going about it will more than likely land him in the same spot as before. My problem is my father is the type of person that will say one thing and then never follow through, and has made many promises to my sister about helping her with tuition and a car and many other things, which is the reason I've been pushing on these points so much the past few weeks. This has more or less been a pattern of behavior for the past 2 years, and as much as I feel bad for him at times, it feels like a lot of issues stem from avoidance of the problem, and a lot of the time he puts his circumstances on other outside factors rather than focusing on what he can do. Obviously, I understand that these things that have happened in his life are discouraging and something he has to carry with him every day, but I feel as though for his family and himself, he should be working hard despite these things to try not to fall deeper into poverty. In contrast, my mother works extremely hard and barely can make ends meet, whereas my father is able to make good money quickly but does not have stable employment, which I believe is due to him not applying himself 100% or just being lazy. The last thing he said was the way I can help is by doing more and picking up more things that he does around the house, and I asked him, if I do this, will you sit down for a couple of hours a day and apply for something? And he said that help shouldn't be based on stipulations, which I do agree with a certain extent, but I feel that if I keep doing what I'm doing, it will have no effect on his motivation to find a job. My father never takes accountability for his actions, and it always seems like there's an excuse. So honestly, I'm not sure what to do. Do I give up on trying to help him follow through? I'm honestly not sure, because I've tried so much, and at this point, it's starting to affect me and my motivation. He he is not receptive at all to what I'm saying, and instead he's just completely dismissing it and turning it back on me. I'm starting to feel like I need to leave because things will not change, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Honestly, it kind of sounds like your dad's depressed. Like he's not applying himself for anything, he's taking all this time to just sit around and do nothing, and it doesn't sound like he's really motivated to do anything that he would probably want to do. And there's also the other side of it that, you know what, unfortunately you can't make him do this. You can't pressure him, and you really shouldn't be enabling him. In my opinion, if I was in your shoes, I would not only stop telling him to try and get up and get going, but I would also stop helping him. Your dad is treating you like the nagging parent when it comes to job applications, and that's not fair in the slightest. He is an adult, grown man. This is someone who should have his life together and knows how to get his life back together if he really wanted to. And unfortunately, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And if your dad doesn't want to get up and find a job, then that's on him, not you. My wife has soft cheated on me with her best friend, and I feel like my marriage is in shambles and I seriously don't know what to do. So I've been married to my wife by the name of Jane for 6 years. Jane is not her real name. We have a 3-year-old son, and we were both raised in an Orthodox religion, which is why getting married so young was normal for us. We have both had similar shifts to more progressive and less religious worldviews. Looking back now, we acknowledge our lives were unfortunately heavily shaped by our shared religion, but here we are anyways. A few years ago, my wife and I became good friends with some neighbors who went to church with us at the time. Very quickly, Jane became very close with Rose, who was the female neighbor. Eventually, they started becoming very touchy. They would hold hands, doing occasional sleepovers when me and Rose's husband were out of town, etc. I didn't like the romantic conversations that they seemed like they were having either. I also noticed that the friendship was becoming such a big priority that it was affecting our decisions about vacations and stuff like that. One weekend, I went on an out-of-state business trip. Rose slept in my house while I was gone, and when I got back, Jane immediately talked to me, crying and admitting that she and Rose had slept in the same bed and that things progressed from there, if you know what I mean. Not quite all the way, but just enough for this to be incredibly inappropriate. She said that they just didn't realize how far they were taking it until they had moved way past friendship touching. At this point in our lives, we were still very religious, so they both felt very guilty. I was really disappointed and I felt betrayed, but more so by how their relationship had slowly become romantic, despite me talking with Jane repeatedly about it. She promised to be better, but clearly that didn't happen. Over the years, we have stayed really good friends with Rose and her husband, which I now really regret and feel really dumb about. There have been times that I have noticed them sending highly romantic text messages or getting a little bit too cuddly. It really bothers me. When I bring it up, my wife is truly sorry about it and does a lot better for a while. She struggles with depression, so I felt like having Rose as a highly supportive friend is a net positive for her. Anyways, this last weekend, my wife accidentally left her phone next to me in my home office while she was out running an errand. She got a text message from Rose that I really didn't feel comfortable with, and then I proceeded to read many of their text messages. I saw a lot of text messages, literally 100 per day, about giving kisses, cuddling in bed together, about how they were each other's best parts of their lives, hinting that they wish they were in an even closer relationship, and all these other things. I was really hurt seeing this. I feel really stupid that I let this happen and that I have been willfully ignorant for so long. Over the years, I have waffled between being upset about the situation and wondering if I'm overreacting. I confronted my wife about it, and she is so sad about what she's done. She said they don't kiss on the mouth or anything like that, and that everything they say to each other is with the assumption that their husbands are actually the main priority. Now, I know the internet might jump to conclusions, but I really believe that they aren't kissing on the mouth or spending quality time together, if you know what I mean. My wife has always been very forthright and honest when I confront her about these things. After some questions, my wife admitted that she's not sure if she's bisexual or a lesbian, but she said that she is attracted to me. For now, she has stopped texting Rose. I told Rose's husband what happened, and I think he talked to Rose about it, but I haven't talked to him a lot since then. He is as aware as I am to their past and did have a very similar reaction to what I had. I am not sure if we will be friends anymore or what that will look like. I'm sad if I can't be friends with him anymore, but I am so done with my wife and Rose. I'm working on scheduling couples therapy for us. To be honest, I'm not sure what to do about this. I am totally exhausted by the situation, and overall, I just feel cheated. Whenever my wife expresses love to me, I can't help but think that it's a lie. I have loved being married to her, and I want us to be great parents, preferably together. How can I make this finally finally stop? Do I need to cut all ties with Rose and her husband? I don't want to leave my wife, and I'm honestly not sure if I can even salvage this marriage. What should I do? First off, you need to understand that your wife absolutely cheated on you. Like, she was straight up in bed with another woman, and they were kissing, making out, and doing a whole lot of other things. Like, seriously, you're really delusional if you think this is not cheating. And also, in my opinion, there's no gray area here. She literally went out of her way to continue messaging this Rose lady, all under the guise of, oh, we're just being really friendly with each other. No, you're talking about possibly dating. You're insinuating a lot of things that you want to do with each other, and that's not okay. You're literally married. So I think you need to take that into consideration. And hopefully couples therapy goes well for you, because your wife has absolutely betrayed your trust, and you really need to remember that moving forward. My coworker is making me uncomfortable with his manic behavior, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. So I really need some perspective on an uncomfortable work situation. I've worked with my coworker for about 7 years in an office with 30 other people. This coworker, who I'm going to call Jacob, has been unprofessional and makes everyone uncomfortable. Jacob is not his real name. Now, I'm trying to keep this vague, but he hates our boss, and he applied for her job before our boss was promoted, and he didn't get it. He wasn't qualified and is unprofessional. He has bullied people in the past and sent a really disturbing letter to another coworker. HR said they can't prove that Jacob sent it, but it was in his very distinct handwriting and happened shortly after an incident where he tried to intimidate this person. Jacob is in a union and uses that to his full advantage. He knows every trick and loophole to get out of work and go on long stretches of stress relief. He tries to say our boss is bothering him for telling him to do his job and not be insubordinate. He would leave work without telling our boss, and when he got in trouble, he tried to get me involved and vouch for him that he was in fact in the office that day. He did this by texting me in the middle of the night multiple times. I told him I wasn't sure, which was the truth, but I also was not sticking my neck out for this person. He also put a hurtful meme in our break room that targeted certain people's religious beliefs. But again, this was done in secret, so we couldn't prove it was him, but we all knew it was him. Equipment has gone missing from our office that only he had access to, but again, it could not be proven that he stole it. Our industry is small, and I know someone who previously worked with him, and he was let go for another office because equipment was stolen. There's more to this story, but it's just some of the things he does, doing sneaky things that can't be proven, but we know he's behind it. I fully believe he's a sociopath. He's accused others of trying to secretly record him, and I'm actually afraid he has a recording app open on his computer when he's not here, just so he can listen to us, and I'm not a paranoid person. Jacob has recently been back to the office after an extended sick leave. I sit next to him, which makes me uncomfortable, but here's the problem. Jacob has not been doing anything that would count as harassment, but his behavior makes me nervous and uncomfortable. I don't know how to describe it besides manic. It's like he's on something. He usually comes to work and doesn't talk to anyone. He sits at his computer all day and leaves at the end of the day, but every so often he comes in and acts like he did a bunch of substances. In fact, this happened yesterday. He was talking to me non-stop, and when I said I had my headphones in, he just kept talking. He was trying to show me stuff on his phone at full volume, blaring in my face. He went around to everyone's office and was just laughing at nothing, acting super friendly like everyone's his best friend. He was openly trying to engage coworkers about private matters in front of me, to the point where they said they just didn't feel comfortable having the conversation in public. I actually had to leave my desk a few times because I couldn't keep interacting with him because I was just getting nervous over his behavior. I'm being encouraged by a few of my coworkers to write a formal letter to our boss saying that his behavior is very concerning. One of my other coworkers already did it. They said that if he makes you uncomfortable, that's all that's important. He's not technically harassing me, but it's the sudden change in demeanor that has me on edge. The loudness, the insistent talking, the mania, and it's not just the manic behavior. It's just that this person has a history of being antisocial, so it's very jarring when you come to work and he's telling me his life story in rapid fire speech pattern and acting like we're best friends. What should I do? Well, I mean, this really is a weird situation. You have a coworker who is clearly used to working the system, and it kind of seems like he's doing that right now. Not even to mention the weird behavior that he's exhibiting, which yeah, I believe you when you say it. This guy is not acting right. So in my opinion, write a letter to your boss. Tell him exactly the way he's acting and all of your suspicions about this guy. Hopefully, if anything, they can at least move where you work so you can try and have a different place to work and you can kind of avoid him, because this guy's acting weird and I don't blame you for feeling uncomfortable. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.